I'm Captain Kirk! Hello everybody, welcome to JD's Journeys. My name is Captain Archer. No, my name is JD. And today we're doing the Star Trek project. And in this episode, we're looking at Star Trek, the original series, Episode 5, The Enemy Within. First of all, I apologize for my bad acting. This episode shows exactly what Shatner's acting is like. His normal acting and his terrible and ridiculous acting. Before I continue, I just want to remind you that there are spoilers in this video. In this episode, there's a transporter accident that splits Captain Kirk into two. The normal adult Captain Kirk and the toddler/teenage Captain Kirk. No, that's not right. Actually, it's the good Captain Kirk and the evil Captain Kirk. And we get to see the struggle that pretty much everyone has internally about morality. I guess that's what the episode's about. So I guess the biggest thing you notice about this episode is Shatner's acting ability. As the good Captain Kirk, you actually seem to realize that he can act. He seems normal. Actually, not very exciting, but normal. But when you watch his evil Captain Kirk, he's just over the top. But I've read that some of his overacting comes from his Shakespearean acting. So I guess you can blame Shakespeare for that. This is one of those episodes that has that iconic scene where, Kirk is just shouting, "I'm Captain Kirk!" And it is quite funny watching it. At the beginning of this video, you can see my impression, which is absolutely terrible. I'm going to do it again, but not in this video, but in future ones, I am impersonating pretty much anything that's happening in the episodes. So stay tuned for those. This episode features a lot of the internal struggles that goes on inside a person, like what is right, what is wrong. Of course, good Captain Kirk knows what's right, but he just doesn't have the confidence. He's kind of wishy-washy. Evil Captain Kirk, he knows what he wants. He's out to get it, but he's also a crybaby. He doesn't get what he wants, he has a tantrum. He just seems like a teenager or, worse, a toddler. A lot of the main cast is in this episode. Sulu's trapped down on the planet, potentially freezing to death. Scotty is trying to fix a transporter in his usual self. Spock, of course, is Spock. And he's always going along with Kirk. And McCoy is there too, just being McCoy. Others, well, we're missing Uhura. Rand is there. Rand takes a big role in this episode as well, as she is the target of Kirk in this. He does kind of attack her. And those scratches on Kirk's face, that's from Rand. Overall, I really enjoyed this episode. This is one of my favorites, I guess you could say. It's one that I always looked forward to watching, partially because of Shatner's bad acting, but it's a lot of fun. This is one of those episodes that I would consider classic Kirk and classic Trek too. So I would give this episode 4.5 out of 5 stars. It's that good. It's that much fun. And now for the nitpicky part. I used to have this at the beginning of the video. I decided I'm going to switch it around, have the review first, and do the nitpicks after. So, if you're interested in the nitpicks, then please stick around and watch. So, right off the bat, we see how cheap the production is. The alien dog is, well, it's a dog in a costume. It's so easy to tell that it's a dog. Doesn't look like an alien at all. Also, Scotty uses this instrument to scan the dog, but it looks like cheap plastic. So you can see how cheap it is. I don't think anything in the 23rd century is going to look like that. I'm not sure how they missed this, but there is a continuity error in this episode. When Kirk is on the surface of the planet, he has an insignia on his uniform, like right up in here. But when he beams aboard, both the good and evil Kirk are missing the insignia. He goes to sick bay, and when he's out of sick bay, he's wearing the insignia again. how did they miss that? And speaking of sick bay, those plastic 20th century spray bottles are back again. They really shouldn't be there. We get to see a couple of crew quarters in this episode, of course. We have Rand's crew quarters and Kirk's. Now, there's a couple strange things I found. In Rand's quarters, the mirror that she uses is so foggy or scuffed up. I don't know how she can see in it. It's kind of strange that it's like that. As for Kirk's quarters, he has makeup. He put makeup over the cuts on his face. I didn't know he wore makeup. And something I don't get. Sulu and the others are trapped on the surface of the planet. The transporter can't pick them up. Why the hell didn't they use a shuttlecraft? I know why. They hadn't actually been created for the show yet, but really, wouldn't there be any space to surface or ship to surface shuttlecraft for them to use? It just seems a little ridiculous. And then we get to see engineering. Well, we've seen engineering before, but why is it so deserted? There's no one there. Does anyone work in engineering? In other Star Trek series, they're packed full of people. But in this one, it's often empty. That seems a little fishy. In any TV show or movie, of course, there are going to be stunt doubles. In this episode, Shatner's double, I've noticed, is taller than Shatner himself. So when we have good and evil Kirk fighting each other, you can see one of them is taller than the other. And there's a first for this episode. This is the first time we get to hear McCoy say, "He's dead, Jim." When Kirk is confronting Kirk on the bridge, later in the episode, there's something I noticed, another continuity error. They seem to flip the film over. The scratches on evil Kirk's face switch his cheeks. And finally, the temperature on the planet is minus 120 degrees. How could they survive that? Those blankets that they used were so thin, I don't see how they could help at all. But everyone survived. Oh, thanks for watching, everyone. If you have any comments, please leave them in the comment section below. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and please subscribe. If you want to watch the next episode, then go right up here. If you want to watch the previous episode, you can go here. And if you want to watch the whole playlist, you can go right in here. See you in the next episode. So when we have good and evil cook